Coming in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're on.
Folks, we're back. This is Weaponized News. Visit weaponizednews.com. We're broadcasting here on 1680 AM here in Fresno, California. This is the second hour of our 2-hour broadcast. I'm your host, Stuart Webb, along with my co-host, Sam Chaney. We are. Sam's got on what is this called, Sam, that you're wearing?
Surgical mask.
Oh, a surgical mask. Yeah, because I guess there's a man has measles in Fresno, so we basically have to wear these now.
Ebola!
But folks, we just had we had the author of 9/11 Truther, not to be confused with 9/11 Truthers, because I guess there's a stigma, questioning line 9/11 and what the government told us and wanting answers. John Gold, he's an author and activist. Go check out his work, and the man has a lot of knowledge and too much, honestly, to digest in one interview. So there's so much evidence leading to 9/11 being basically carried out by criminal elements of multiple governments, clandestine groups. It's not what the mainstream narrative says happened. That is not the official story. The official narrative is a complete lie. I mean, there's just too much evidence leading towards a cover-up, and all we're saying is we were lied to. Okay, we're not gonna say George Bush was Wile E. the Coyote pulling doing the little plunger thingy with the bomb to blow up the building. We're not saying that. We're just saying we've been lied to, and it's pretty obvious because we've lost all our freedoms. The war on terror continues, and it's supposed to be for our freedom. We basically put guys like Chris Kyle on a pedestal, even though it's been proven in court that he lied about things in his book. And yes, I'm sorry, I know he's dead, but he was about to come out with that stuff, and that's why they killed him. Okay, it's just that whole situation is very interesting. You should look into it, but ultimately, we appreciate John Gold for being on the show and speaking out and writing about real issues. And he doesn't care about the Super Bowl that's coming up this Sunday. He cares about we were lied to, and a lot of people died, and a lot of people are still dying. Millions of people overseas have died because of the war on terror. Okay, it's not keeping us free, folks that are listening to this. The border not secure. In fact, our government encourages people from other countries to just walk across. That could include terrorists. We haven't been attacked on our own soil for 14 years, but the border's wide open. So it's just a complete fraud that more people die from bathtub drownings a year than they do from terrorism worldwide, okay? You have a better chance of being shot by a cop than getting killed by a terrorist. I mean, it's just not really that big of a threat when you really look at the big picture. And we funded the Mujahideen. That's on record. We funded Saddam Hussein against the Iranians.
We funded ISIS.
Yeah,
whatever you want to call them.
And that's just on record now, okay? And Ron Paul goes over it. We are on both sides of conflicts for decades now, and we've never declared war since we declared war on Germany. And so it's just never ending. It's endless, but our economy
it's endless and mindless.
Endless and mindless, and our economy continues to plunge and to collapse. And but hey, the Super Bowl, deflation. Oh, yeah. Deflation gate or deflate gate. I'm sorry, not deflation. That would be a real issue. Deflate gate. Let's concentrate on deflated footballs.
Well, Stuart, here in Fresno, California, and I want to give Fresno Forward a lot of credit. They're right on top of the news. We are freaking out. It's all over the mainstream media. A man with measles visits Winco Foods, Fresno Fashion Fair Mall, and Community Regional Medical Center. That's why I'm wearing this mask for the video, because I'm freaked out about this. Well, no, folks. It's utterly ridiculous. And you hear the mainstream media, a big radio station here today, was freaking out, saying that they're actually siding with the very liberal and progressive LA Times, who their editorial board wrote a story today called, the headline reading, How to Immunize More Kids. California Needs to Ban Personal Belief Exemption for Vaccination. So they're openly calling for medical tyranny now. That's the LA Times and quote, conservative radio, big stations here in Fresno. They're calling for government tyranny and a law where the government puts a gun to your head and sticks a needle in your arm. Now, I guess that's freedom now.
If we've come to that point,
That's what the mainstream media is pushing hard and heavy ever since. I mean, it sounds like a made-up story to me, Stuart. Disneyland measles outbreak. I mean, really? I mean,
Yeah.
I could sit there. I could sit there and picture in my mind the executives of a pharmaceutical company sitting in their tall,
Just
high-rise building
with their fingers, ooh,
yeah, just like out of a
yes.
cartoon,
Ooh.
and just sitting there and going, wait, we got a bunch of measles vaccine in inventory that are going to expire. We got to clear out inventory. What will these idiot mainstream public not buy? Oh, yeah, maybe I'm sure they'll buy an outbreak at Disneyland.
Dr. Oz even admitted that he doesn't even vaccinate his children, but yet he'll sit on on CNN all day and just say, "We need to vaccinate our children. Get
Well,
your
Stuart,
vaccination.
I'm
Get
not
your
a-
flu shot."
Stuart, I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to attempt to give anybody medical advice. Only advice before we move on to the news I will give you is read the drug insert to every vaccine you give yourself and your child, and look at what the side effects are and weigh the risks and benefits before you stick a needle in your arm.
And like we've heard before from people that are credible and that we actually follow, if someone's vaccinated, they shouldn't require other people to be vaccinated because their vaccination should make them completely safe from anyone who has the measles. So if you've got the vaccination, that's great, awesome. No one's sticking a needle in my arm. And think about this, if the government can just force you to take whatever put whatever in your bloodstream, what can they not force you to do? I mean, they could force you to do whatever they want. They
can force you right into a gas chamber.
Absolutely. So, no, this is completely illegal, and the media is being.
They're complicit in this.
They're complicit.
This is what fear mongering looks
Yeah.
like. This is people
Yeah.
say we're scary with the things we talk about, and we're
Yeah.
pushing fear. Well, no, the mainstream media is pushing made-up stories. I mean, give me a freaking break already.
We've seen it with Ebola, and we've seen them try to cover up the Ebola, but then also concentrate on it, and then not concentrate on it. So basically, the media just does whatever the government tells them. They're lapdogs, and if they want to make a bunch of money off the H1N1 like they did a couple years back, boom. Just, you have to get the swine flu shot or else you're going to die. Well, I never got it, and I didn't die. And also, that went away real quick.
Remember the CDC doctor, PhD doctor, whistleblower that was
Yeah.
the statistician for him that came out and said they're lying about the measles MMR vaccine? They're lying about it. The CDC is lying about it, and it causes autism in black children, and they're lying about data. So if a CDC scientist, statistician comes out and says that, how can we trust anything these people say? We can't.
Mike Adams of Natural News wrote an article a couple years back and offered anyone $10,000 if they could give him proof that vaccines, specifically the flu vaccine, if it actually worked. And no one could cite any evidence, no report, no data.
The CDC even admits you got a 1 in 4 chance of this year's strain actually being effective against the flu, if you can believe their rigged numbers according to their own whistleblowing scientists.
Yeah, they just guess what strain it's going to be and just take, I guess, and insurance companies offer it for free because they just want to, they love to just damage people's immune systems.
There's a profit motive behind it all, and if they can keep you sick as a good patient, keep coming back for care.
Absolutely.
Listen, people, there is a profit motive behind it, and then sitting on top of that for the big dogs that don't care about a profit is they are eugenicists. It is their religion to kill you. Look it up.
Yeah, look, if they can really say, if the media can just say everyone should be vaccinated.
LA Times.
I mean, yeah, if they're starting to call for that, that's
major radio stations here in Fresno.
Yeah,
if they're saying you're a horrible person if you don't do whatever the public health department says.
Wow.
And trust me, people, I've worked in public health in this county. The public health department for Fresno County, for example, they're incompetent, okay?
Do you trust the Congress? Do you trust the president? Well, those departments are all under our elected officials. So if you don't trust those people, why would you ever trust all these bureaucrats under here, under them, the Health and Human Services? I mean, why?
And like we went over on the first part of the show, they're lying. If they're lying to us about 9/11, what else are they lying about? The media, the mainstream media. They're lying about everything.
The National Institute of Health, which is a division of Health and Human Services, actually, we wrote an article about this on weaponizednews.com. they gave over 400 grand to study gay hookup apps, okay? But so they spent that much
Almost
money
$500,000
just to study on, what potential, things could happen and all that, and how people hook up. And so they studied it. They spent 400 grand of our money, and then they want you to go get you're going to listen to them? Are they credible when they say, we need to get everyone vaccinated? Everyone must go now to get vaccinated when they're spending, hundreds of thousands of dollars of our money to study Grindr apps, to study apps, and really they have no purpose. And so you're really going to listen to our government with the recklessness. They have no oversight, which is what we talked about in the first hour. There's just no accountability anywhere. No one goes to jail. Look, President Obama could commit a murder on videotape, and he would not go to jail. It would be for national security.
Well, he has murdered American citizens.
That's true, overseas, and he's committed war crimes just like a lot of our past presidents. It's just like this Bill Clinton. He's being named in lawsuits now, being connected to underage
sex
slaves. Yeah, and so they can't hide everything, but they will try. And so, but my point is, don't trust the government. Don't trust the Department of Health and Human Services.
The mainstream media.
Don't trust LA Times when they say we all need to get vaccinated. Okay, how about this?
No, they're saying the government needs to mandate it.
Oh, they're saying that's even worse. They're saying
the government needs to put a gun to your head and stick a needle in your arm.
Well, they need to mandate it.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's start with the LA Times reporters. Okay, right, Woody? You want to? Yeah, so I think, what are your thoughts on that, Woody? I mean, don't you think the people that are calling for us to be forcibly inoculated?
They should be the first to get vaccinated.
Yeah, there we go. So we are calling for the vaccination of the measles vaccination for the LA Times, the entire company.
Board.
Everybody
There
that's
you go.
crying that we need to get vaccinated, you get your vaccination first.
There you go, and just
Yeah.
show me that you. In fact, send me a video of you
And
getting
see
vaccinated.
if it works.
See if it works. And then you send us a video. Then
Yeah.
maybe we'll think about making our own decision. And no way in hell will we just be forcibly inoculated. That's against my human right. Period.
Yeah.
Stuart, in this article, in the LA Times, they say, this is a quote now, and they want you to share this quote. It says, the study leaking vaccines to autism has been thoroughly discredited, and the rumors that childhood disease vaccines contain mercury are just wrong. And they just quote it. They don't cite any source.
Yeah, there's
or
no
anything.
source. No insert, right?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So if you actually
So
read
now
the info.
the LA Times editorial board are, according to them, experts in vaccination, and they're MD doctors, and we just need to listen to what they say because they are the mainstream media authority on everything.
Wait, so Sam, you're saying in the article they don't cite anything?
Well, they quote it, but they don't say where the quote came from.
Oh, see, that's the issue. If you go to
they
our
are the authority, and
yeah.
don't ask questions, and take your shot, and shut up, and die.
Yeah, so you're better off going to weaponizednews.com and because we cite all our evidence, at least where we're getting the information. You can decide whether you believe the information or you can decide whether we're credible, but we'll at least cite the information. I don't just say George Bush admitted,
They don't cite the study.
this and that, and then not cite it.
It's very poor journalism, and but let's get off that, Stuart, and get it back into some real news. But we had to call out the hoax when we see it, and it's utterly absurd at this point that they're calling for the government to put a gun to your head and then stick a needle in your arm. I mean, man, that's the definition of tyranny.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see some commercials, some propaganda during the Super Bowl. It's going to be very interesting. See, I boycott the Super Bowl only because they're anti-Second Amendment, and I don't want to spend my money.
They're thinking.
Basically, they're just a bunch of mindless
Anti-critical
garbage,
thinking, yeah.
anti-critical thinking, and they're pro-establishment.
It's mind
period.
control is what it is.
And
a bunch of pro-war propaganda.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Having the troops and the flag, and always Budweiser commercials.
Brings a tear to my eye.
They promote
the Star Spangled Banner.
They promote beer and soldiers. It's just unbelievable. And so
The American way.
and ultimately,
Bush isn't even an American company anymore.
yeah, it's not.
Well, who cares?
Yeah, but who cares though?
Yeah.
Because it's Super
It's
Bowl,
patriotic, yeah.
Super Bowl, Patriots, Seattle. whatever their name's called, Seahawks. Yeah, it's just going to be a bunch of mindless garbage. But I kind of want to watch it to see what kind of propaganda they're going to push.
So you can analyze the mind control.
Yeah, I might have to do a little analyzation just to destroy it. Because really, though, there will be articles written on our website, weaponizednews.com, about how the Super Bowl is just, what do they call it, bread and circus, 1984. They give you gambling and beer. And you will be sedated slaves.
Casino gulag economy.
Yeah, hey, you know what? In fact, folks, maybe you should maybe it would be smart to bet your whole life savings on the Super Bowl because it's, that's a smart idea. I mean, just unbelievable.
But the balls might be deflated.
That's true. You got to factor in the deflation of the balls as if that really matters.
Stuart, that's the level
That is
the national debate and discussion in this country is sinking down to is deflated pig bladders.
Yeah, that is the breaking news on Monday morning. On a Monday morning in 2015, that's the breaking news. Not the fact that 50% of kids are now in poverty. The 50% of kids that attend public school are just living in poverty.
Everything's collapsing around us, but
and 14 out of 20 or something like that just are qualify for free lunch. I mean, we're living in poverty, but no, deflated footballs. We worship Bill Belichick. We worship Tom Brady,
worship football coaches.
Richard Sherman. We worship them all. Although Richard Sherman has actually made some statements.
Pete Carroll is the 9/11 truther.
That is true.
So give him some credit for that.
Yeah, Richard Sherman. He definitely doesn't like the media and the establishment because he talks a lot about how controlled and ridiculous it is. So I give him credit for that. So that's a shout out to Richard Sherman. But besides that, I don't think I will be viewing the Super Bowl. I will probably be boycotting.
Sir, California considers replacing gas tax with per mile charge now because they're not getting enough tax revenue because the oil market's been collapsed to go ahead and bankrupt Russia. And it's not some great gift because as soon as they monopolize the petroleum market, they're going to jack the price to the sky is the limit. And but in the meantime, for this tyrannical communist one world government that we have operating out of California, they're going to go ahead and try to implement tax per mile charge on your traveling in this state.
We know that's all part of Agenda 21, but of course we'll be called conspiracy theorists. But it is true. They're going to do a study. I think Governor Brown has put together a commission to do a study for a year of what this would, what kind of revenue it would bring.
What's the feasibility?
Yeah, is it feasible to implement this? It doesn't matter if it's feasible. They will implement it because they want us out of our cars or in electric cars with monitors. Just hybrids, no economy. You can't drive trucks anymore and actually, drive products across the country. No, that's not going to be allowed. You can't have your big rigs and all that stuff. It'll just be, but the high-speed rail, stuff like that.
We can just throw money at that all day.
Oh, yeah, which will never happen.
Forget about the infrastructure we already have in place.
Yeah, exactly.
And improving
and
that.
Improve that. And,
have you driven down 99? I mean, that freeway is falling apart. There's potholes every friggin' 100 yards.
Yeah, and why do we want to give the government more money if they're not even getting the job done now? And their excuse is now we have to do the per mile because we don't have enough from the gas tax. Well, we've been giving you money for a long time now. And also, what's Marcus's book about? It's about basically the federal government takes a lot of our tax dollars and distributes it, a lot of California's tax dollars, and distributes it all over the nation.
Well, the buck stops with the state. The state is complicit in it.
Complicit in it. So all those tax dollars that the federal government's taking from us to give to other states, why don't we use that on the roads? We already paid for it. But no, that's not okay because, we're progressive and liberal.
We have traitors in our government in both houses of Congress and the executive and the courts.
Yeah, the federal government
has sold us out. They literally have sold out the taxpayers. The people who are their rightful employers who fund their salaries, they have sold us out, and we have the roles reversed in this Orwellian nightmare in 2015 they have us living under.
Yeah, and do you really want to have and they were talking about in this report, in this article, how are people going to report back to tell the government how many miles we drove so you can tax us? Oh, no, that you're not going to report because they're going to not allow any cars without these computers reporting directly back to the government, to Big Brother, how many miles you're going. Which people, privacy advocates, oh, hey, maybe privacy advocates will come out of the woodwork from the left because it seems like that's the only thing they care about is just, civil liberties, freedom of speech, and privacy. They don't care about, they don't realize that the Second Amendment, all that stuff, states' rights.
They used to be anti-war before
and
Obama came in.
Yeah, but Obama has a Nobel Peace Prize, is progressive, loving, and liberal, so they will support him no matter what. But privacy advocates, of course, the government's not going to let you track your own mileage and send it in. Do you really think they're going to let you do that? No, of course not, because then you could just say, well, I drove 5 miles, even though you drove, 500. So they're going to track your miles. They're going to get you out of that old car. They're going to make you have black boxes in your car. So like when you go to the DMV to register, and this is why the DMV is such garbage. We pay for the roads. We're driving in our own property on roads we paid for, and we still have to go to the DMV to get permission to travel on the roads we paid for, in the cars we paid for. No, the DMV will require you to get a black box. They will require you.
And if you don't get one, the cops will shoot you in the head.
That's exactly. So the government creates the laws.
With a gun to your head, literal gun to your head.
And that's why we need to just abolish the Department of Transportation, and Congress could do that. Of course, that'll never happen. So the cops have to enforce the law, and the law is illegal. All these laws are illegal. I can go whatever speed I want. I can travel at whatever speed I want. No cop can stop me. But the thing is, they'll shoot you if you don't stop. Even though you haven't committed a crime, there's no victim. But
you're a threat to public safety.
Yeah, so you have to comply with the DMV because the cops will shoot you if you.
Public safety is
exactly. So and folks, get your measles shots, right? Because the media says, and they define what is healthy.
Yes.
High fructose corn syrup. If they said it was healthy,
nothing about the fluoride, the GMOs, the geoengineering. They do nothing about any of these things, but they love to care about your health.
Oh, they love it.
Yeah.
In fact, they know so much about your health.
They prescribe babies GMO formula and fluoride vitamins.
With high fructose corn syrup and a lot of it.
Yes, but they care about your health.
They care about your health more than you do. They care about you more than you do.
They do.
Folks, so listen to your loving government that's authoritarian and it's not right or left. Seriously, what is the difference between... There is no difference between the parties. Stop acting like there is. And the thing is, I hear so many conservatives still advocate government, big government.
When they end water fluoridation, stop GMOs in our food supply, and stop spraying us with heavy metals, then maybe they'll have a leg to stand on.
Yeah, they'll have the moral high ground.
Yeah,
at least
maybe,
a little bit.
A
maybe.
little bit. When they start monitoring for radiation, remember the EPA just raised the safe level of radiation after Fukushima?
Yeah, because they don't want to have to actually do anything about it or alert the public. But
radiation's still coming here from Fukushima, and where's the mainstream media that cares so much about our health? Where's the government that cares about our health? Oh no, you're not supposed to talk about that because that just happened a couple years ago.
Just
of
course.
Forget about that.
And no one has any idea. You say radiation, huh? Radiation? The government bought was it a couple years ago, Sam, or a year or two ago? They bought like 9 million doses of potassium iodine.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're preparing.
They're gearing up. We saw the Department of Homeland Security and other government agencies have bought over 2 billion rounds of ammo over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
They got armored tanks here. Clovis Police Department has the armored tank.
They're the leftover military equipment that we've paid for.
Automatic
the taxpayers.
Weapons, grenade launchers. We went over this on our
show. They go right to the departments.
They're digging in like it's going to be World War III. But yet we're supposed to just go along with the mainstream narrative. Everything's okay, and get taxed by the mile.
I will give a little plug to Infowars.com. We've been following them for years. Their products are legit. I've been taking the iodine for over a year now, and I'll tell you, it literally changed my life. Go get it, InfoWarsLife.com. It really... You will have mental clarity. You will detox. There are so many great products out there. They are credible. The fruit of their labor is sweet, so we're going to promote them. And we just also want people to be healthy. Okay, regulation of the thyroid will help everything in your body. If you can actually have iodine soak up all those bad radicals, free radicals in your thyroid, it'll help you function better. And maybe you will stop caring about, eating that Snickers bar because you'll realize that is not even good for you, and that's probably what's giving you those headaches, et cetera, et cetera. Just we encourage being a little bit healthier, and actually don't just go to the doctor so that they can prescribe you a pill. I haven't gone to the doctor for years, and I canceled an appointment that I was supposed to have 3 months ago. I just canceled it because you know what? I don't want to go to a medical doctor unless unless I need surgery. If I'm dying, if I need heroic intervention, that's one thing. If I'm dying of a disease and I need to get looked at, that's fine. But just if you have a cold, there's things that you can do. Drink some herbal tea. Get rest. Eat healthy. Don't eat GMOs. Drink high fructose corn syrup every day. I mean,
See, the mainstream media, it's finally starting to break through, but I mean, you hear it on this big radio stations here in Fresno again. Oh, haha, everything's funny. GMOs are no big deal. Eating pesticide glyphosate is no big deal. That's what they continue to push the narrative here, especially in Fresno, and they have the mainstream public so dumbed down that everything's a big joke.
yeah, and
They're hacks. I mean, these people should be disgusted with themselves, and I believe they're going to burn for the sins they've committed against humanity. Honestly, Stuart.
It's one thing to be ignorant of certain knowledge and certain information, and just going along to get along with the system. Compartmentalization. We understand that. We're not calling everyone out in government. There's good people in
I
government.
kind of am. But
But you're right though.
the information's out there. I mean,
Why they call you Radical Sam.
Yeah. So if we present you this information and you're part of the government, it's like this. My dad is a teacher and he works for Fresno Unified. He complains about the government, et cetera, but he works for the government, so he can't really complain about the people that actually pay his salary, which is the taxpayers, but also the government provides him a job. Now, I would say get rid of all public education and privatize it, and have a free market. The government should only be there to
They
make
should
sure that
compete against
we have a free market and not just take over the free market and then call it free, even though they steal from everyone and create
nothing.
Yeah, and basically,
But death and destruction.
our public education system is broken. It's terrible. It sucks. No one learns anything. I had to teach
By
myself all
design.
this stuff.
By design.
Yeah, by design. We know it's because they want to dumb us down.
They go in there with the drug program and teach kids how to use drugs.
Absolutely. The DARE program, I never even would have known what marijuana was until I read books in the library that told me, "Oh, this only gets you high for 10 minutes." I'm like, I'm 9 years old. Like, I'm reading this interested now. I'm actually curious, and I actually like to go into the library and read about this stuff because it was forbidden. If you kids are very impressionable. If you put the idea in their head,
And they know that. The social
Yeah.
engineers know that.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
it's all planned.
It's disgusting. Stuart, let's move on to some news here. The police state. Oh, you hear conservatives. Oh, there's no police state. We need to be tough on crime. Well, over there in Sacramento, they're expanding the police camera technology.
Yeah, I was reading that, and I.
But there's no police state, Stuart. Even though
No, of course
there's
not.
cameras tracking you everywhere you go.
Yeah.
It's
Well-
perfectly fine. It's for law and order.
What was interesting is they said, well, we can track license plates.
That's
And they also said, well, first of all, why would you need to track license plates unless you're looking for a suspect specifically? Why would you need to track them?
because everyone's a suspect.
Yeah, everyone's a suspect in the police states of America. They also added this on the sentence, and for missing persons.
Yeah.
Okay, so why would having cameras and license plate scanners everywhere or on the corner, how would that affect whether you find a missing person? I just don't understand that. And I mean, it just brings it, and they're using that to say, oh, even if that technology could work to help find someone, okay, well then why not just constantly have cameras on everyone that report back to Big Brother? Oh, I'm sorry, I mean the government. The loving government, not the Big Brother. The loving government.
Well, they're exempt from it all.
Yeah, because the police station, who's recording the police station?
No one.
No, so they're not recording.
There's no bad people
Oh.
that would ever do
Oh.
ill will toward the rest of us working for these government agencies. They're all. I think I'm going to call that the Catholic Church. I'll declare them saints for sainthood.
Yeah, and
Now, is that reasonable? But that's the way they act, right?
and the government is definitely
we
completely
know they
secular
run the drugs
and
into this country.
yeah, but they'll say that they're loving and that we care about you, but we don't even know their moral compass because they're basically set on destroying Christianity and making sure someone can't even pray in school unless you're Muslim, which is the total just double speak that they're saying, oh, Muslim or terrorists, Muslims are bad, Islam is bad, and then saying, no, we will protect them. Though it's this double think that you have to get the American
And
people to
it's
demonize them.
Muslims.
Yeah.
So then we cause this divide and conquer.
Yeah.
The clash of civilizations.
Yeah, but the government's secular, and but then they have the moral high ground. But why? You believe in the Ten Commandments? I'm sorry, government. What is your moral compass? Is it the Ten Commandments? Okay, that makes you at some level religious a little bit. There's a moral code that we operate under.
For good people in government, start speaking out against this tyranny before it takes over completely and controls you and your family's life.
Folks, we're going to take a quick break. WeaponizedNews.com is our website. We'll be back for the last 30 minutes of the show. We're going to get through a lot of news. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the other side of the break.
Welcome back to Weaponized News with your hosts, Stuart Webb and Sam Cheney. And now it's crunch time.
Time, yeah.
Okay.
Welcome back. Thank you, Woody, for that.
You're welcome.
This is Weaponized News of WeaponizedNews.com. We are broadcasting on 1680 AM here in Fresno. I'm your host, Stuart Webb, along with my co-host, Sam Cheney. We're going to run through some news. We got about 30 minutes left. We appreciate our sponsors, our advertisers, the station, our producer, Woody, and you, the listeners, for putting up with us. You may hate us. You may think everything we say is just a complete fraud and a sham, and we're lying to you. But we'd encourage you to go look up what we're talking about. I mean, really, the information is there. Go take a look and start reading some books and just investigating and start, think critically. Just think for yourself is all we're asking, and try to become, mentally independent and not be intellectually bankrupt, as Sam would say.
And not to mention, be open-minded.
There we go.
Keep an open mind.
Keep an open mind.
Don't
Do
be
your
so
own
stereotypical.
research.
Do your own research, and do not be in denial.
And you don't have to. You're right. Like what he said, we don't have.
You want
to
to see the truth? It's going to be right there in front of you. So don't say, "Oh, I don't believe it." Well, you want to look it up. There it is.
There it is. And once you believe it, you have to take action. I mean, once you
Right,
look at
right.
it and you know it, you have to take action. So don't be afraid of taking action. And look, we're not going to agree on everything, but ultimately we want to live in a free society where people can operate in the free market and not be harassed and controlled by government.
Amen.
And that's what we're advocating for. We want a free society. Conservatives, Sam and I, we love guns, and we are not at all. If you listen to us and think we're some progressive liberals, if you listen to the show for 10 minutes, you'll figure out that we do not like the so-called left, even though they're not even the left anymore. They're just communist scumbag authoritarians, which is the same as the right, the neocons. Okay, so that's all we're advocating for is a free society. Everyone, look, conservative, libertarian, it's the same thing. A liberal, libertarian, conservative, those are all kind of intermingling. They differ on maybe some social issues, but ultimately everyone wants to be financially conservative. It doesn't make any sense to not be. Okay, do you want to be in debt or do you want to have money? No, that's exactly. So no one wants national debt. We're not advocating a bunch of government programs. We are conservatives. We're real libertarian conservatives, real ones. And so we're just calling them how we see them, and that's how we do it on the show. So if you don't like it, we'd appreciate you to go to our website and our Facebook and comment why you don't like it and counter us. Counter what we're saying with evidence, because we get emails saying that we're conspiracy theorists. Counter us with evidence. Okay, please, just do it. Sam, what do we got on this crunch time segment of our show, the last segment?
Fluoride again, please look into fluoride in your water, fluoride in your medications. Fluoride officially classified as a neurotoxin in the world's most prestigious medical journal. I'm going to post links in the YouTube to this. The Lancet, which is one of the world's most prestigious medical journals, has classified fluoride as a neurotoxin in the same category as arsenic, lead, and mercury. And so it's right there in the medical journal. It's undeniable fact. This stuff is being put in our water supply. We're being forcibly medicated without our consent. That right there is a otherworldly crime that our government is doing against us. And so there's not good people in government that are doing this to us. And so we need to speak out against this because it's undeniable fact now in one of the world's most prestigious medical journals, Stuart.
These neurotoxins are they're linked to many health problems, ADHD, developmental problems, autism, and a Harvard study it came out that children
It
living
reduces children IQ. yeah.
children living in areas with fluoridated water supply have lower IQs than children living in areas without a fluoridated water supply.
Significantly lower.
And that is not a coincidence. And by the way, if you do agree with fluoride in the water, okay, how much fluoride is in my cup when I put it in the when I go from the tap and I get some water? How much fluoride is in that? Oh wait, you can't control the dosage. You can't manage
Sir,
the dosage.
it's
You can't regulate it.
It's in the same class of neurotoxins as arsenic, lead, and mercury. So if you agree with fluoride in the water, you should agree with all of that in the water. Fill up your cup and take a big gulp.
And continue to ask yourself, how even if you think a little bit of fluoride is good in the water, okay, how do you know you're getting a little bit of fluoride? How do you know you're getting a little bit
Is
or
a little
lot?
bit of lead and arsenic good? And mercury?
You know, and what was it? Trace amounts of arsenic apparently are okay. We need them, right? But we're talking like actually putting fluoride in the water.
Lead.
And lead. That is not. We're not supposed to ingest lead. Remember when you're a child and you chew on the pencils? I remember teachers freaking out. They're saying you're not supposed to eat lead. Those are lead pencils. And I think that's why they had to take them out of schools or something. I don't know if that's correct, but I remember that being a big deal. So lead is a toxin. It's a neurotoxin. It can kill you if you eat too much of it. I mean, it'll kill you. It's a poison. So do we want that in a water supply? No. We don't want mercury, heavy metals in the vaccines. We don't want it being sprayed on us.
Regardless of who you are, it's a neurotoxin. If you
Yeah.
ingest it, it's going to reduce your IQ and give you brain damage. Stuart, let's move on here, too. The National Border Patrol Council, the union that represents more than 16,500 Border Patrol agents, opposes the House Border Security Bill, H.R. 399, because, and I quote now, they call it window dressing. And so that's the Border Patrol Agents Union calling out our government, the House of Representatives bill, as being window dressing, controlled by your Republican representatives.
I actually went to congress.gov, and everyone should go to congress.gov, search H.R.399, download the bill and the PDF and start reading it. Ask yourself if now they do say that they're going to put up fences. They're going to secure all these sectors of the border over 18 months, or they're at least going to start it within 18 months, and it'll be finished over a 10-year period, something like that, and they'll get $1 billion a year. You know, I kind of breezed through the bill. It's 75 pages. I might have to go back and do some research on it. But in the bill, as the union, the Border Patrol Union, basically said, you know, we're not, and if you look through the bill, they're talking about just basically giving the Border Patrol, oh, you're going to have a bunch of air support. You're going to have a bunch of drones that will report back to us and gather data. It doesn't talk about actually securing the border. It's just put up fences and put up drones. And it doesn't give the Border Patrol really it doesn't give them any more manpower. It doesn't give them, are they even allowed to deport people?
Stuart, this is what the spokesman, Sean Moran, of the Border Patrol Union has to say about the Orwellianly named bill, Secure Our Border First Act. He says, and I quote, "This legislation speaks about metrics, but frankly does not provide either the strategy or the resources necessary to achieve them."
All it is, a lot of it's gathering data and decide so that Homeland Security can, with a committee of Congress under this bill, will be able to make decisions on how to secure the border and to give the Border Patrol, basically give them direction. But also in the bill, I was breezing through it, okay, before work. You know, I have to work to pay to be able to put on this operation. Sam and I actually have to work. And then we also fight tyranny after work. You know, reading a 75-page bill is not easy. But I did come across the exemption where the Department of Homeland Security, the Secretary of Homeland Security can just basically waive, in the interest of national security, can waive anything. If somebody comes across the border, they can actually waive whoever comes across the border, no matter what, for any reason, as long as they state that it's national security. So that, when I saw that, I always see little things like that saying, okay, what does that mean? Does that mean that they can
make up whatever they want?
They can make up whatever they want, and even maybe actually allow cartels to come through saying it's national security.
It's going to help them frame the narrative when they stage another false flag terrorist attack.
Yeah, but the thing is, everyone's so ignorant they won't go and read the bill. And I'm not
Don't
saying
even
I'm going
read
to
the press release from the Border Patrol saying it's all a fraud.
Yeah, it doesn't really give them any. It doesn't really give them any support, and it doesn't secure the border. It just basically whitewashes it and says, "Okay, we're going to build fence. We're going to build fence across this area." Okay, yeah, but we've done that, and it doesn't matter. There's no securing of the border. And when the grand scheme of things, I mean, yeah, it's only going to cost like $10 to $15 billion, I would say, what they're appropriating it, money for it, over 10 years. But they're not even going to start building it until almost 2 years in. I mean, and will that secure the border at that point? I mean, what is the process for deporting people now? I don't even know if there is a process. They're being told to just let them through, and so they're trying to ram through this bill to basically, to basically.
Whitewash it and act like they're actually doing something for
Exactly.
border security.
Yeah.
When we know that it's the Cloward and Piven plan
Yeah.
to collapse America, we continually report about this. Look it up. Stuart, can we move on here to the next story? Is some more of the spying. U.S. spies on millions of drivers, and we talked about how they're doing it in Sacramento. Well, this is a DEA uses license plate readers to build databases for federal and local authorities. And this is out of the Wall Street Journal. It goes on to say, the Justice Department has been building a national database to track in real time the movements of vehicles around the U.S., a secret domestic intelligence gathering program that scans and stores hundreds of millions of records about motorists. And so that is freedom in America from a tyrannical federal government working with local authorities to further enslave us for our own safety.
And then you go back to the tax per mile. Of course, this is all a plan. It's Agenda 21. They want to get you out of the rural areas into the mega cities. They don't even want
them. It's in the Wall Street Journal. I guess they're conspiracy theorists now.
I guess so. Well, I remember was it the Washington Times actually reported on the fact that Homeland Security thinks that veterans are the number one terror threat.
Yeah.
So they're conspiracy theorists too.
Mm-hmm.
But it won't ever matter. You know, when United Nations troops or Chinese troops or troops from any other country come and occupy us, just rally around the flag and say war on terror, George Bush, go Patriots this Sunday, and everything will be okay. Everything will be just fine. Let's not be intellectually literate and actually think for ourselves. No, let's not do that. Let's just listen to our beloved president. And conservatives, if you dislike Obama, why would you believe he is the executive authority. He enforces the law. Okay, so when the Congress passes a tyrannical bill and all these laws that are just ridiculous, I mean, the executive branch is supposed to enforce them. So get mad at the entire government. They're all in bed with each other. It's not just one person. Even though Obama is acting like a dictator, it's everyone. It's
He's a
everyone.
puppet for the big banks.
Yeah.
Stuart, here, moving on to our former vice president, Al Gore, and former Mexican president, Felipe Calderon, are pushing for 90 I'm sorry, it's hard to even pronounce, $90 trillion in spending to ban cars from every major city in the world and make them more dense. And so that's right out of Agenda 21. It's right for their profit. And it goes on to say in this article, out of the Daily Caller, Gore and Calderon presented a report from the Global Commission on the Economy and Climate and argued that fighting global warming will require making cities more compact and wholly reliant on public transit.
Al Gore,
It's hard to
First
even
of all, I don't
fathom.
believe
Does
in
he
global
write-
warming.
does Al Gore?
Well, regardless if you believe it or not,
No, I don't.
they need $90 trillion to get us out of our cars
Yeah, you're right.
Now, where are they going to get $90 trillion?
from the taxpayer.
Oh.
Yeah. Ask yourself this: does Al Gore ride the bus? Does he take public transit, Sam?
Does he take vaccines?
Does he, is he exempt from Obamacare?
He doesn't need to do any of that because he walks on water.
Does
Yeah,
he practice
exactly.
global warming prevention?
Yeah. Well, Al Gore, we have to make sure we have to catch man bear pig, which is climate change, which is global warming.
Well, he's still out there pushing the global warming fear-mongering scare that the world's going to collapse because of it. And there is climate change now. And so
But it all has to do with geoengineering, though.
a
That-
lot
a lot of it
part
does.
Of it,
Yep.
a big part
That's
of
true.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Al Gore, ask yourself, Al Gore Okay, and it's just like the Leonardo DiCaprio when
Why
he
are we
gets in
listening
front.
to the ex-president of Mexico about this stuff? I mean, really?
He has no jurisdiction in the United States of America. They can talk about it all they
Neither
want.
does Al Gore. The federal government has no jurisdiction locally here in Fresno County.
And if they want
So they presented this at Davos, which we talked about last week, as they flew in their private jets, 1,700 plus of them. And so they can do whatever they want and then dictate and lecture us all day how we're bad for using the petroleum-based economy that they have us strangled with, that they will not release us from, and let the alternative energy out on the market.
It seems like all these global things like Davos, all these global,
Confabs,
confabs, conferences when they get together, Davos is like their public one.
Yeah.
It seems like it. I might be a conspiracy theorist, but it seems like they're actually pushing for global policy, right? It seems like they're actually pushing an agenda for a certain global policy. Wouldn't you say that's true, Sam?
Well, they're trying to
Or
ban
is that conspiracy? Yeah, is that a conspiracy
They're
theorist?
banning cars. They're trying to ban cars from every major city in the world, and it's going to cost them $90 trillion.
This is why we harp on the Bilderberg Group, which we don't even talk about hardly ever. But when we discuss it, it is real. Davos is
very real.
Davos is like a public version of Bilderberg, and they're literally saying we need to ban cars in all major cities around the globe. Well, who's going to mandate that? Are a bunch of countries going to do it themselves individually, or is there going to be a global mandate by, I don't know, the United Nations? I don't know. Could there be a catastrophe that brings in global government? I don't know. But we would like to inform you that the Bilderberg Group meets in secret, and then they finally, since the alternative independent media has exposed them, they actually have to issue press releases that they actually do get together and discuss issues. Folks, they shape policy. Who do you think Devin Nunes? Who do you think his campaign? Who do you think's paying for all his campaigns? Okay,
The central bank.
yeah, the central
Federal
bank,
Reserve.
because I'm telling you, I'm a conservative, and he's my representative. I wouldn't give that guy 1 cent. If someone paid me money to give him a portion of the money, I wouldn't do it. Okay, if someone paid me to give him a certain portion of money that they gave me, I wouldn't do it. Okay, so that's how they're funding these elections. And, we know there's election fraud, too, as well. We know the Bilderberg Group style of the globalists, when we say the Davos people and those, they're shaping policy, okay? Those people come back, they pay for campaigns, and then when their guy gets elected, who you think is your guy because you voted for him, no, he's not your guy. You didn't give him a bunch of money, okay? They will pass laws they'll pass laws to give the authority to bureaucrats to regulate that, you can't walk a certain amount because, it's bad air day. You know how they in Fresno here, we have burn days and non-burn days in the winter. Okay, so the government controls whether I can keep myself warm in my own home, making a fire. Okay.
And creating this 1984 snitch culture.
Yeah.
That's a big part
man,
of it, too.
That guy's burning on a no-burn
Yeah,
day.
turn 'em in.
Oh man, I need to turn
Rat
myself
'em out,
in.
yeah.
Yeah.
If I want to keep warm, I'll just hit some Fireball.
There we go, Woody. Oh, you mean like the drink?
Yes.
That a boy.
I don't know if I would drink that stuff, but Stuart, moving
When
on.
I used to drink, it was pretty good.
Stuart, moving on here to the economy. Now, this is an article out of the Telegraph, and they're talking about, the headline reads, Central Bank Profit Fears QE Warfare Pushing World Financial System Out of Control. Former BIS, that's Bank of International Settlements, chief economist warns that QE in Europe is doomed to failure and may draw the region into deeper difficulties.
That's the printing of money, folks. Increase in money. Most people think that what's on the big lies? Oh, yeah, food prices keep going up because inflation is a natural force that can't be halted. No, the thing is, you stop printing money. You stop making the ledger. You stop digitally entering the ledger. Oh, here's $100 billion or whatever. You stop doing
Increasing the money supply.
Increasing the money supply. That's all inflation is increase in money supply. And so when you do that, and then you hold interest rates at an artificially low level, I mean, yeah, people are going to make malinvestments, and also they're giving money, the big amounts of money, the new money is what they call it, to their insiders, and so they get everything at the low price until it circulates in the economy, and then everything goes up. By the time it gets to the labor class, you can't make a living wage on a full-time minimum wage job. You can't make can't hardly provide for yourself. So it's unbelievable. The QE stuff, just that's what it means. Quantitative easing. It's easing the stuff that we're actually going to have to eventually own up to, right? Sam, all this money that's
The
just
debt,
the bad debt.
the bonds.
Yeah, we're gonna have to live. We're gonna have to
Somebody
own up to
has
that.
to pay the debt
Exactly.
in this Ponzi scheme that the global central bankers have created.
Yeah.
It's a debt-based monetary system Ponzi scheme. Please learn how money is created because I was watching Bill Still. He's the producer of The Money Masters, which is a great documentary. I suggest everybody go check that one out. And The Secrets of Oz, where he discusses monetary history in the United States and the monetary system. And anyway, one of his reports, I'll probably have to do an article about it. He talks about how he used to think that these central bankers and these bankers were all in on this giant conspiracy to oppress the people. And he has come to the realization, and so have I, that they don't even understand how money is created because they're just happy to take a big paycheck home and be a yes man and do what they're told and don't ask any questions. And so he was talking about how he was talking to one of these central bankers, and during the conversation, he explained how the monetary system actually functions and creates money into circulation, and said that they didn't really understand. And so, but the point of me saying all that is the Dutch Parliament is now calling an acting group, which is presenting a acting skit around the Netherlands about how money is created in a play. And it's got everybody over there interested in a very boring topic, which is meant to be boring by the central bankers, so no one will look into what's the driving force behind the economy. But now I guess these actors who are putting on this play about money creation in the Netherlands are actually talking to Parliament and explaining it to their Parliament so they can actually get some monetary reform in that country.
Wow. Yeah, the powers that be, they don't want anything of any topic of importance to actually stimulate your mind, for you to be interested in it. You don't learn about this stuff in elementary or high school. You don't learn about any of it. Or college.
They tell you, they glaze over it, and it's very boring, and it's meant to be boring, and you're just supposed to accept that the private central bankers, they don't tell you they're private, just the Federal Reserve is the authority, and don't ask any questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And most people don't, and they're happy to just get that paycheck, like you said, and live as a slave.
Even the bankers don't understand.
Even the bankers don't understand. That's kind of a problem.
The ones sitting on top pulling the strings, they understand.
Oh, absolutely.
But
you're not in that group.
Yeah, the mid-level guys and the guys running your local bank, they probably really don't understand.
They don't, and I don't, and that's what we're talking about, compartmentalization. Not everyone that's a banker. We're not talking about the bank teller at the damn
local bank manager,
Bank of America on Blackstone and Knees. We're not talking about that. You know, those average people, they have no idea. And not only that, they don't want to look into it because guess what? They don't want to bite the hand that feeds them, and they're just happy to get a paycheck and smile to the customers. But most people, you know what? And that's just what most people are comfortable with, is being comfortable. We're trying to get you out of that being comfortable, stage that you're in. That
learned helplessness,
normalcy bias that you're in. Exactly.
Normalcy bias is what the psychologists call it. Stuart, here real quick, article out of Zero Hedge, headline: get ready for negative interest rates in the U.S. And we've seen that in Europe, and it's coming to the U.S. But let's get to, I wanted to hit on that real quick. Let's get to this final, and we won't get through it, but 37 lies
Here we go.
Americans tell themselves to avoid confronting reality.
Start with number one. We'll switch off.
Number one, all FDA-approved medications are safe to consume in any combination because the FDA protects the public.
That's lie number one. Lie number two, food prices keep going up because inflation is a natural force that can't be halted, even though we know that's garbage because we know how the creation of money happens through the Federal Reserve.
Number three,
and all they have to do is stop it. That's how you cut it off.
Number three, the mainstream media is telling me the truth when it reports on world events.
Lie number four, chemical food additives are tested for their safety before being widely used across the food supply. That's a lie.
Number five, we can all pump groundwater out of the ground forever and it will never run out.
Lie number six, so we can also pump fossil fuels out of the ground forever and they will never run out either. why worry?
Lie number 7, if anything bad happens in terms of a national emergency or natural disaster, the government will take care of me.
That's that's common sense, folks.
Wow.
Lie number 8, it doesn't matter where my food comes from as long as it's cheap and delicious.
Lie number 9, GMOs must be safe to eat because a bunch of scientists paid by the biotech industry all teach each other that GMOs are safe and therefore have reached scientific consensus.
Lie number 10, government debt doesn't matter because the government can simply create more money anytime they want. Well, we know that the private central bankers of the Federal Reserve actually can do that. And you know what? That doesn't make it worth anything. It doesn't have inherent value, a piece of paper that says this. It's only worth something if people accept it. And when people stop accepting it, which they're doing overseas, it's all going to come back. And guess what? It's going to be $25 for a loaf of bread.
Once confidence is lost in the system, it will collapse. Lie number 11, mercury in vaccines must be safe to inject into children. Otherwise, the CDC and FDA wouldn't allow it to be used in vaccines.
Because the CDC and the FDA can never lie. It's impossible, and the government loves us. Lie number 12, organic produce is a waste of money. I'll buy conventional produce treated with pesticides and herbicides because the cost of the cancer treatment.
News Corporation, CBS Corporation, and Comcast have one thing in common. The executives who run them belong to an international crime syndicate whose American branch is the Council on Foreign Relations. The CFR was founded in 1921 by David Rockefeller, the son of the Rockefeller banking and oil dynasty. Carroll Quigley, mentor to Bill Clinton, said in his book Tragedy and Hope, the CFR is the American branch of a society which originated in England and which believes that national boundaries should be obliterated and a one-world rule established. Although media seems to be biased, either being conservative or Democrat, the men who own these media corporations care nothing about these political parties. The job of these corporations is to keep the people divided on social issues while telling the masses of people globalization, a one-world order, and illegal foreign wars of aggression are all necessary and for your benefit. Time Warner CEO Jeffrey Bukes, CFR member. John S. Chen, Board of Director of the Walt Disney Company, CFR member. George Soros, financier of Media Matters, CFR member. Rupert Murdoch, CEO of News Corp, CFR member. Leslie Stahl, co-editor of 60 Minutes, CFR member. Brian Williams, NBC anchor, CFR member. Be sure to call the Satanic Council on Foreign Relations and verify what has just been told to you. This message has been brought to you by We Are Change Fresno TV.